Barakata Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rucha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is American Influence Brings Misery. And this is pretty much based off of a video that Elder Pastor Tahar did a lesson on and mentioned it from the page called Deep in Moments. And I wanted to highlight this video. I'm not going to be able to play it. I would like to play it, but I know how YouTube does. You know, they like to, hit you with copyrights and all that. So, Lord's will, we can, instead of actually watching the video, which I should have linked in the description box, but I didn't remember to grab it till just now. So what I'll do is I'll grab it right now and I'll put it in the description box for those of you interested. You know, it's all type of scriptures jump out at you when you watch this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into and read the transcript. You know, what's been subscribed to, which is pretty much the video in written form, and hopefully we can get, the main points out of here, because there's 4 main points through the Spirit I would like to get out of here within the first not even 3 minutes of the video. All kind of prophecies were popping off this page. And what's going on right now is the Americanization of the world. As you see here, this is an actual book. I don't know who, by W.T. Steed. I never heard of it. I just typed in Americanization. This what came up, so I just used this as a backdrop. All right, so moments of today's topic: support Macron. French people reject NATO sanctions against Russia in a recent interview with the media of Russia, Ukraine. Let's see. It says, with the media on Russia-Ukraine conflict, former French senior intelligence officer Joyer openly took shots at the United States. It was the Americans who caused the crisis. See, because they know that it was America that caused this crisis for Europe, because America is not suffering how the European nations are suffering. It says to escalate who undeniably started the war, because America is the one that started that whole shit, and who have done everything possible to drag Russia into it since the beginning of 2014. Of course, Russia should not have made this determination to go to war, but the U.S. is still doing everything to start it. Joyer also warned his European counterparts that all Western intelligence agencies remember how often the Americans lied to Europe about Iraq, Afghanistan, and Ukraine, and that the U.S. always found ways to convince Europe that it was threatened, but each time Europe was manipulated by what? The Americans. So pretty much, what is this? This is pretty much, indicative of how America has this great influence on the world. All right. And pretty much these European nations that are suffering right now, this, economic crisis, which is prophesied, they're going to have a deep hatred for America, because America started the shit, and they have to back America up because they have that, union that they put together, and America has to back them up. But they're the ones suffering more than the Americans are suffering. So Revelation 17:15, the main point is in 16. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes of nations and tongues. That's dealing with America, Babylon the Great, a melting pot. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, the 10 horns is a representation of these EU nations. There were 10 major nations It started off with 6 when the building was erected in Brussels, Belgium, which was the capital. It was stated that 10 flagpoles were erected outside. Right now, the actual flag of NATO, the actual flag of the EU has 12 stars, which are really 10, but they have to try to offset prophecy. All right, knowingly or unknowingly. It says, "In the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, the EU, these shall hate the whore." Why? The reason why they're going to hate the whore is because of her policies, the things that she's doing. And remember, they're backing America up. So whatever conflict America gets into, they got to get into. So these sanctions that America posed on Russia is really affecting those European nations. And right now, they're tight with this place. They're not tight as in close. They're tight like in upset and mad. "And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." And this is going to be a part of the cause for these European nations that are allies to America to shoot missiles upon America. Because the Lord said that he put it, for the Most High hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, because they're going to come together in union to all have that one same mindset, which is the mindset of the Lord, to destroy this place. This place got to go. It's like a bad plague. It's like a bad nightmare. It's like something gone rogue. It's too much. It's got to be put down. It's got to be put out of its miseries. It's a bad seed from the start until the words of the Most High be fulfilled. So let's see what more we can glean off of this. Now that Russia-Ukraine conflict has reached a stalemate, both countries have the possibility to negotiate, and it is logical for the Europeans to participate. Why? Because they're the ones being affected the most. America's not really being affected like they're being affected. In the negotiations, as we all know, the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Europe followed the U.S. sanctions. See? So Europe followed the U.S. sanctions. So in essence, what is that? In following the U.S. sanctions, hold on. We're going to get to that part. Against Russia, and in fact, the biggest beneficiary is undeniably the United States because of the outbreak of war. NATO, which was originally declared brain dead by Macron, was able to resurrect, making it a fact that the United States continues to control Europe. You see? And why does it continue to control Europe? Because America is riding that beast. The beast is carrying America, and America is riding off her back. Salaki for the corny joke. When we read in the same book of Revelation 17:3, "So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman." This woman represents America, the harlot. All right, sit upon a scarlet-colored beast. That scarlet-colored beast is the dragon with the 7 heads, 10 horns, which represents the whole all them European nations as a conglomeration together, EU and NATO. So America is sitting on top of that beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So America is sitting on top of them, and when you sit on top of something, you have the rule or the domain over it. When you're sitting on a horse or elephant or whatever the case may be, you're the one that's controlling, the reins of that particular animal. In this case, beast. Okay? So now let's go to the word sit. I didn't look it up. Just look it up. Sit. The word is kathemahi. It's a compound word. It says to sit down, seat oneself, to sit, be seated, of a place occupied, have a fixed abode, to dwell. Right, so they have a fixed abode with the beast, the rest of the beasts carrying America. Like America is because the scriptures call America what? Babylon the Great calls her, the mistress. It calls her, a queen. See? So she's in that rulership position. That's why the Lord said that, sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, for there is no throne, because you're going to be dethroned. And the Lord is going to use these nations to dethrone you. When Yahushua comes back, them nations are going to, by the time Yahushua gets here, them nations are going to be so fed up with you that it's going to be a pleasure to hit the button and launch those missiles at your ass. So let's go back. So the woman sat upon a scarlet-colored beast, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. Right, she was sitting like a queen on top of this beast. Moving the beast where she wants the beast to go. That's why we read over here that Macron, who said that NATO was dead, brain dead, was able to resurrect, making it a fact that the United States continues to control Europe. All right? And it says, having a gold... Well, you know what? Let me save this part right here. Let me save this juiciness right here. Let's go back. It says, in addition, the U.S. encouraged Europe to impose an energy embargo on Russia successfully, squeezing Russian energy suppliers out of the European market. And what did that do? That caused problems, because these European markets, they were relying heavily, some of them anyway, were relying heavily on Russian oil. I don't know the dynamics or the ratio or whatever the case may be. If you want to get specifics, you go and look it up for yourself. But these European nations relied more on Russian oil and energy than America did. Okay? Now, let's read on. It says, and clearing the biggest obstacle for the U.S. energy giants to seize the European market. And that's what happened. See, because America wants to control everything, because America is the catapult for these so-called international bankers to set up this NWO, the New World Order. This is the catapult. So they don't, remember what Rockefeller said, competition is sin. So they want everything done or brought under one umbrella. All right. Therefore, from an economic and strategic point of view, the United States has actually become the biggest winner of this war in Ukraine, right? Because the outcome is leaning towards America. All right. So let me see something. So these European nations drank this cup. That's why, right here it says, this woman that was arrayed in purple, right? Having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. This is all her policies, her ways of being, her religions, everything incorporated in one inside of that cup, right? And then when we jump back up and we read verse 2, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have what? Been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So they've been made drunk with their philosophies, with their democracies, with their economic, social status, and all of that goodness, right? Or badness, should I say. Now they're in a jam and they can't get out of it. And they're trying to get out of it. And they're blaming America for being the culprit. It says, in contrast, this war in Ukraine, in contrast, Europe, which followed the U.S. in provoking the Russia-Ukraine conflict and imposing sanctions on Russia, has ended up being one of the biggest losers in the West's hybrid war against Russia. For this reason, Europe must not only bear the inflation caused by the increase in energy prices. So here it is. America started the shit. You drank that Kool-Aid. You helped this hoe to get in position, and now you're suffering for it. But also bear the huge security risk of the spillover of the war from the Ukraine, right? Because Russia and fighting the Ukraine, that's right there in Europe. So it could spill right over into those EU nations, NATO nations. America's all the way over here on the west, on the utmost side of the earth. Conflict even Ukraine conflict, even triggering a nuclear war, which eventually this is what's going to happen. That's why it says that she shall burn her with fire. Shall hate the whore and burn her with fire, so that they can fulfill the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Therefore, from the economic and security point of view, Europe is one of the biggest losers in this mixed war. If not under the manipulation of the United States, Europe will probably be reduced to one of the poorest regions in the world, as some analysts say. And just as Joyner warned his European counterparts that the U.S. has always been manipulating us, a massive riot broke out in Paris. So pretty much it's looking like by Europe back in America, they looking to be the biggest losers in this whole thing, and will more than likely be reduced to the poorest regions in the world, which leads us to that cup that they were drinking, which goes with Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken through her Americanization. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Why? Because when they came out of that inebriated state, they found out that America took the bag away from them, and they were left with nothing but debt, woes, having to deal with the bully, so to speak. Here it is, America started the shit and ran, and then these European nations got caught up in it. So they drank that wine, they drank that cup. Now they're mad. Now they're messed up, they're hungover. They looking at the main culprit like you look at that bottle like, you mother effer, but it was your fault. You drank the bottle. The bottle didn't make you drink it. You drank the bottle. All right. So let's look up this word mad. So they're in that drunken stupor. The word there is halal. To shine, to flash forth light, to praise, be boastful. That's going to praise, boast, be praised, praiseworthy. Here you go. To make a fool of, make into a fool, to act madly, act like a madman. So in this application, this is the definition: to make a fool of, make into a fool, to act madly, act like a madman. And that's exactly what's going on. So they're acting like a madman because of this. And that all plays into the prophecy of Daniel, the 2nd chapter. So pretty much American influence brings misery. Ask those European nations. So with that, I pray that you brothers and sisters have been edified. To the next time I say shalom.